Welcome back to Talkin Texas Forever, a Friday Night Lights podcast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Liz.
And we're discussing Season 5, Episode 5, Kingdom, written by Roland Jones and directed by Patrick Norris. Original air date, December 1st, 2010. We have such a special episode because we have Matt from the Lonely Boys podcast, a Gossip Girl rewatch podcast where Matt is a veteran and his co-host Brendan is a newbie. Matt, welcome. You're also a return guest to Talkin Texas Forever.
The only.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. Well,
I'll
actually,
take
seriously.
it. Listen, I'm now a 3-time guest. I'm looking forward to getting my 3-timers hat in the mail. I promoted to full episode. This is a dream come true.
Yeah,
I can't wait to talk about this whole thing. And yeah, I mean, thank you for the introduction. That was fantastic.
Well, I mean, we love you and our listeners love you. They were so excited that you get to come back. And this is such a fun episode. And when I watched it to prepare, the first time, I was like, Liz, what about the idea of having Matt on for the full time? She was like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And you had to talk her into it, but she, eventually she agreed.
No, I was like, Matt's a great guest. Let's do it.
Oh man, I'm thrilled. And yeah, this is a great episode. Like when you sent me the list of episodes that were still available, I was happy that this one was on it because like I watched this whole thing only one time. This is my second time watching the whole thing. And I watched it all like 3 years ago, I guess, almost at this point. So I know I love season 5, and I think it's probably maybe now my favorite season. I don't know. I said season 4 last time, but those last two, they depending on what day, I could switch my answer around. But but I remember storylines in this season. But as far as like specific episodes go, it's like the finale, obviously, and then like this one was the only like specific episode that I could also remember. Like I could vividly like see scenes, like the scene where they're all like outside of their hotel rooms on their little patios and like talking to each other. Like I still remember that scene. So I was like, I remember that one. So if that's available, I think I'll take it. And then it was, so I did.
What's so crazy, Matt, is I told Liz that this was the only episode I really remembered of season 5, besides the finale, and the balcony scene was the same scene I remembered.
We're on the same page here. I remember the first time watching that just being like, I feel like this is a moment right now. Like I am watching like a very specific moment of the show. Like this is something that I'm still going to remember almost 3 years later. And here we are.
Okay, so obviously let's talk about the Lions first. The Lions coaches and Jess are all heading to Kingdom, Texas, which is 5 hours away, to face the Rangers, the team that they forfeited at the beginning of last season. Did you catch up on that? Did you catch on to this?
That this was the same team that they forfeited against? Yeah, when they said like I definitely had no like memory of that without rewatching it, but once they said it, like they were going for revenge and they mentioned that they forfeited, I was like, oh okay, this definitely means something because even though the team is different, like this when they forfeited, as Luke says, he wasn't even on the team yet, but it still definitely means something too, especially Vince. I'm sure Coach is thinking about it, even though he's telling people not to let the revenge get to them. So definitely a big one.
Yeah, and in the beginning when we're seeing the boys practice, like Coach is like, it's my way, like just trust me, listen to me. And even Vince has like a little talk back. No, it's Coach's way.
I love that scene.
Yeah. I did too. And it ends up like paying dividends for him because I feel like that's the one, like it sticks in Vince's head because at the end of the first half or whenever, when that guy is really like taunting him, I really thought, and I feel like we've probably seen things like this before, he was going to like disobey Coach and try to, score a touchdown on him just to get in the other guy's face. And he does take the knee. So like he is listening to Coach. We see throughout the episode that he has so much respect for Coach. Like they both have respect for each other at this point. And the Vince and Coach relationship in this episode was so good to watch.
It was so good. Before they leave, Coach is in his office cooking bacon.
Of course, as one does.
That was the funniest thing.
As one does.
So random, but so amazing.
As one does. But they have a talk about what happened at TMU. And so Coach tells Vince, trust me, just please don't say anything to Luke yet. That's all I'm asking. Keep it to yourselves. And also we learn that Vince's dad is going to be making the 5-hour drive to the game. He's like the only parent besides Buddy Jr.
Yeah,
so we see.
Pretty much.
I mean, besides
Buddy Senior is going to be
Senior.
Buddy Senior.
Yeah.
Obviously. He's going to be, courtside or whatever you call it
everywhere
in football games. He's going to be right there in the action.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about seeing BJ being hazed?
I mean, I'm not surprised. This is obvious. Like as Buddy says, he's like, listen, this is something that's gonna happen. You got to be hazed. Like I think it's stupid. I think he probably shouldn't be hazed, but
Yeah.
he seems to expect it. He seems to take it. I don't know why. Like last episode, we re-meet this guy, and he is like a problem child who isn't taking shit from anyone. Like he's stealing his dad's car and everything. And I don't know. He joined the football team, and Coach Taylor told him to keep his helmet on, and now he's just a different person. So.
I know. I was thinking the same
Yeah,
thing. I'm
it's
like,
weird.
he had like a little personality change.
Yeah, it's like we skipped a few episodes here. It's like he is a completely
right
new
now
person.
he's just like a very passive, doesn't want to step on anyone's toes kind of thing. And
he said
like,
last
what?
episode he didn't care about football, and now it's like this team
Right.
is the most important thing in my life.
Right. I mean, hey, I guess to like have a purpose, like he didn't really know what his purpose was, and in my opinion, he was forced into this.
Yeah.
But
he was.
he feels like a sense of belonging now with the team, and then the way the team treats him is, I guess, like, well, we have to do that because that's what everyone goes through, like that typical.
But it's
thing.
not, as Buddy says, like, oh, we used to have to like shave our
He's like, it's not
hair
as bad.
removal with adhesive tape. I mean, he's passing out the itinerary. He's getting the bags thrown at him.
He's getting the ice.
Right.
And then he wins them over.
Right.
He wins over our good friend Hastings very quickly. I don't know where this bromance came from.
Thoughts on Hastings, first
Did
of all?
You remember him?
No, okay. I remembered him in the sense that in season 5, I remember that there's randomly a new main character that is in the theme song, has a starring role, and I'm just like, why? Like this guy? Like keep in mind, Buddy Garrity has been on the show for 6 years. He's still recurring. Billy Riggins has been on the show since the beginning. He has been a recurring character. This guy comes out of nowhere and has no personality. And like I don't know who this guy's agent was, but he somehow got this starring role on the show to do what? To ask Coach, are we there yet? And that's been his biggest moment so far.
What a good point. Like
such a good point.
Buddy and Derek
Bradley Lynn.
Right. Brad and Derek have not been.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like they're happy with their recurring role, but like they've been such big parts of the show. And like this guy, it seems weird that if you were to like go to Wikipedia and see the list of people who had starring roles on a season of Friday Night Lights, it's like 14 people that make sense, and then this guy where even Michelle is like, I have no recollection of this man on the show.
Right. And like, while it's nice to introduce a new character, and I just feel like it was just really unnecessary.
But they don't get like, I know they introduced like many new characters last season, and immediately we like got them. It was like, okay, Vince, I understand this character. Luke, I understand what's going on here. And then like even Tinker slowly but surely has been making his way into our hearts. This guy it's been 5 episodes now, only 13 episodes in the season, and we got to figure we're going to be getting to some big stuff towards the end of the series, and we still know nothing about this. Like we tried to get some backstory with him. I still can't even like get his names down. Hastings, I believe, which is an insane name.
Hastings Ruckle.
Yeah. If they wanted, couldn't even give us a memorable name to go off of. Like, I guess he's like kind of from this area, like where they end up going, but we don't get much of it. We just get like a quick backstory.
Right. I know.
Right.
And it's even weird too to me. Like bring in Buddy Jr. That makes more sense because now we have another character to add to season 5.
Yes.
Like why? Like Hastings, just so we can recruit someone from the basketball team to add someone to the team.
Right. Like Buddy Jr. makes sense. It would have been, understandable and fine if Buddy Jr. was the new character to come in because he's Buddy's son.
Right.
And and play football. But Hastings, that whole, I feel like it's just a waste of airtime. Yeah. And while, he seems like a okay kid, it's really, we're not going to develop him. So really, why did we bring him in?
But he's apparently ingratiated himself to the rest of the team because he's part of Luke's posse when they all go to like TMU last week. He's on the balcony with the other teammates, like having this special moment. Like he certainly felt a little out of place, but welcome to the big moment. Congratulations on being allowed here. Like it's just I don't know why they have like welcomed him in with open arms. We haven't seen any bonding between them, but there he is.
I think it would have been funny if Buddy Jr. would have been more sentimental if Buddy Jr. was outside with the boys and kind of like they were talking about like their time and their team, and Buddy's kind of new and they're accepting of him, and he's joking about how like Hastings is farting in the bedroom. Like, why do we need Hastings out there?
Yeah.
But I digress with the Hastings stuff. I could go on and on. I
Yeah.
just think it's random.
Well, I love the whole journey to get to Kingdom because it's a 5-hour bus ride and there are amazing things happening on this bus. We have, the rapping going on. And we have the fact that the bus breaks down and Billy is trying to fix it. And then we have the giant, just all of the boys, the pee scene.
That was amazing.
Which Derek, I listened to Clear Eyes Full Heart, says that was them actually peeing after they had to film like 4 hours on a bus. And the cameraman
I
caught
love
it.
this so much.
Yeah.
I would want this picture like hanging in my bedroom.
Right? I know.
If I was one of them, not as myself.
Right.
But if I was on the cast, I would have thought that was great. Question for you guys, if you remember, the game that they forfeited, was that home? Because wouldn't we have done this like 5-hour trip?
No, I think it was at home.
It was, right? Okay.
Because I think they were playing on that like shitty field that was terrible. I'm pretty sure it was at home. Yeah.
And I'm like, the name Kingdom, I obviously would have remembered.
Yeah, no, they definitely didn't go away for that.
No.
Right. Okay.
That was home.
All right. So that makes sense.
Brianna, she says 250 miles riding a regular school bus for that is long. And that is child and elder abuse. Poor Crowley, what is the farthest you have traveled for a school trip?
So I have no concept of geography. So 250 miles means nothing. Like, it sounds like a lot. Sure. I had no idea how exactly far it was. I don't even know like my cardinal directions really. So I'm taking their word for it. That's far. When they said 5 hours, then I was able to conceptualize.
Yes.
But
yeah,
it brought me back to like some of the field trips I went. Like when you guys were on my podcast, we mentioned our love of road trips, and this is just like a really long road trip with a lot of with a lot of people. So this, I mean, a very good time. I went. My senior year of high school, I went to Italy with the Italian club. So that was a pretty far field trip.
That was a common trip. I mean, not in our high school, but my friends in other high schools, if they were in Italy class, in Italian class, they went to Italy too. And I was like, are you kidding me?
I snuck my way on. I was the only person that didn't take Italian.
You bad kid.
How did you sneak in there?
So I joined the Italian club, even though I didn't take Italian. Me and my friend did. We both joined the Italian club. We were like, our friends are going. We'll just go. They won't know that we don't take Italian. And then the guy who like runs it brought us both in. And it was like, so it's been brought to my attention that you guys don't take Italian. You take Spanish. You guys can go on the, Spain trip next year. And I was like, well, I'm graduating this year, so no, I can't. And like, well, we need to give your spots to people that are actually, because only 40 people could go. So they kicked us off, and as a little consolation prize, they gave us a little coupon book that we could use. So that was nice of them, I guess. And then obviously had my mom write an email and call. And then he was like, all right, just to shut my mom up, I guess. He was like, we will put you first on the waiting list. So if someone drops, you could come on. And then luckily one person dropped and I got to go on the trip.
The chances.
And I got the coupon
you
book.
Lucky
So
dog.
who's laughing now?
That coupon book.
Are you Italian, Matt?
25% Italian.
All right. It's a little
Enough.
enough.
Nice. I didn't go on our senior trip. Our school, you do like a skiing and
in the
tubing in the
Poconos.
Poconos.
Yeah, I went, and it was like what 3-4 hours away,
I don't
if
know.
that.
I didn't go. So
What was the bus ride fun?
You'd probably do it yourselves, right?
No, well, actually, fun fact: your sister and I took the later bus because we had to take a test that morning that nobody else apparently had to take. I think we had to because we were really bad in math, both of us, and we had to take like a certain makeup test or something like that. And so we got to go later. I remember it being like a nice coach bus, but I think maybe that's because we were later on. I wonder what it would have been like if we went on the original like 6 a.m. bus with everyone. I don't know. For school, that's the furthest I think I went.
I did. This is the furthest that we've traveled was our 5th grade trip was to the Liberty Science Center in New Jersey. And that makes me LOL because that was my 5th grade trip. And then by the time you guys got to 5th grade,
we went to a Mexican restaurant.
So
a Mexican restaurant.
All right.
But we did go to Old Bethpage in the 4th grade.
That's my favorite.
The best. Do you ever go there, Matt?
I don't think so.
It's like, it's so great. It's like colonial town, and you get old fashioned root beer.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Maybe I have.
I feel like probably in elementary school you went.
Probably. Yeah, that does sound familiar.
I go every year because in December they do candlelight evenings, and so the whole village is just by candlelight, and you walk and you go and tour the houses. It's so fun.
Matt, we
Ooh.
should do a meetup there this winter.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys,
do
Matt
it.
is also from Long Island. Like, what are the chances?
Yes.
It's just really
It's
small.
I'm not
world.
traveling 250 miles to
Right.
do this. It's just a
That's right.
shorter trip.
We definitely have to talk about this hotel check-in process.
What animals?
There's just so much
Oh my
happening. First
goodness.
off, the boys are so rowdy and disrespectful, which I was surprised that the coaches allowed this.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Right. And then also coach just like can't wrap his head around the fact that there's not actual keys to like get into your
Why is he
hotel room.
so surprised?
Like, when's the last time coach went to a hotel?
I guess not in a long time.
he's
The guy
not
was
about
like, the guy was-
macadamia cookies.
He's like, wait, you don't have chocolate chip? The guy's like, no, this is what we make.
He's
the
having
guy
an
was like,
appointment.
sir, they don't make like regular keys for hotel rooms. They haven't in quite some time.
That's so funny.
And then we have Billy handling special teams on the field, which it was just comical football talk. I mean, he took a long time. It was very funny.
It was a
went
funny.
on
It
a
was a
little
funny
too long.
scene.
Yeah, it
Billy
went on too
definitely
long.
Billy definitely like rehearsed what he was gonna say before he went out there. Like he was writing some good stuff that he could yell at these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, for
And then
sure.
coach is like, this was just supposed to be a walkthrough.
Billy.
The first time I watched the show, I'd called Billy Riggins like the most nothing character of the show. Like you guys do the MVP and shittiest. I would theorize that he would probably never be my MVP and never be my shittiest. Like he's just seriously the most neutral character. But after watching this time, he's in the positive for me. He's making me laugh more times than I remember he did the first time around.
I agree. Billy has become one of my favorites along with Mindy, which
Oh yeah,
definitely
Vince.
I slept on the first
they had a
round.
big episode last week, and I'm very upset no Becky this week because it seems like you guys are getting won back over by Becky. I was very upset. First time I came on, it was a good Becky episode. We loved Becky, and then I listened as you slowly got more and more annoyed by her throughout the season.
Can you
And-
blame
It
us?
was just
No.
repetitive, Matt.
I
Come
know, but
on.
can you blame her? I mean, it's Tim
No.
Riggins.
I
Exactly.
know.
No, and then we never blamed her. It just
Yeah,
I
know.
didn't like
It's
the
settled.
repetitiveness of that.
Now I
And
feel like
another storyline we'll get into, I'm sure, very soon.
yeah, me and
Yeah.
Becky are winning you back though.
Yes, you are.
Slowly but
Becky
surely
definitely
again.
is going up.
Yes.
Yeah, she's going up. So the night before the game, we mentioned it briefly, but we have to talk about the balcony scene.
Yes.
And I love this so much because it was just so much friendship and the way it's shot and the fact that they included Coach
It's
Mhm.
really cool.
as well. And so I love that Vince is out there and then Luke comes out and then we have Tinker and Tinker talks about how he's having trouble sleeping, not used to being in hotels. And that's where we learn that Hastings has lived here briefly
Mhm.
before his dad worked on oil rigs. I loved it. And Tinker's roommate is having a little porn film festival.
Wait, porn's not free?
And candy?
The candy
Candy's
bar?
not free?
This is so good. And like you said, like one by one, they're kind of coming out and it's getting more. When
Yeah.
it was just the three of them, when it was just Vince, Luke, and Tinker, and they were just kind of like joking around like that and talking about pork and pigs and everything.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then even when Hastings comes out, it's good. And then, like you said, with Coach, is kind of like we can see him, but they can't. And we just kind of see that he's kind of like below them, like behind the bushes in his own little patio. Just like, I guess he's just like taking a quick nap or something, just kind of enjoying the view himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of listening to everything, which is great because Vince kind of like defends Coach without knowing that Coach is like right there, which is such a great moment when they're talking about, you know, what was up with the forfeit. And Vince is like, well, listen, Coach, he knows what he's doing. Like he must have had a reason. Like, I don't know what it was, but in not so many words, he's saying like, I trust him. I know that he knew what he was doing. And it's
Yeah.
amazing that Coach like gets to hear that from Vince.
I know. It's
Right?
rewarding.
Oh, it is so rewarding, so special. And I took it as like Coach also couldn't sleep and he
Mhm.
was nervous,
Absolutely.
you know, and so he's like, oh, I'll just go outside. And then he happens to just embark on this entire delicious conversation of the friendship. And we love friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it must have been so rewarding for him to just hear like his team. This is his team. This is like we're mentioning how much we love them talking, but this is like he's like, man, he gets to sit back and be like, these are the kids that I'm coaching, and they're having this special moment. And like, I don't think he's taking credit for it, but he's probably like, these are my guys. This is special.
And like from scratch,
Yeah.
besides Luke, who was the only like true football player
Mhm.
on the team,
That's true.
everyone else was kind of just like thrown into it. Vince like was physically pushed, and so was Hastings
Yeah.
into it. So he really built this team from scratch. So it probably feels even better than working with the Panthers.
Right. And
This
after
is
being
like all of
2-8,
his.
yeah, after being like 2-8 last year, they're like undefeated now. I wonder if they're ranked
Right.
now because there's still
Oh my
undefeated apparently.
gosh,
But
right?
we haven't heard them complaining about the rankings since
That's
the
true.
second episode.
No.
Yeah.
No. So we get to the game and it is stressful and these boys are playing dirty. And the first half, they're losing terribly. It's like 7-17. It's really bad.
They're talking dirty too.
They're
Like
talking
nasty
dirty,
things.
nasty. Racial slurs are being thrown.
Yeah. The
It's
first half, it
so
seemed like
bad.
that guy was just being like annoying and taunting.
Right.
And then he comes back out in the second half and he's just being straight up racist. And I was like,
Right.
wait, this is not
Like-
fun. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want Vince to put himself on special teams and lay you out now.
Right?
I support
Yeah.
this fully.
Yeah.
And I love that coach makes that switch,
Mhm.
grabs Vince and he's like, we're going to play our way now.
Yeah, he's like, no more messing around now. Let's stop holding
You
back.
understand what I'm saying? So go relay
That's
that
the
message.
first time he really
It is.
like
yeah.
let his guard down. He's
Yeah.
like, we're gonna just not do it my morally sound way that I always do. I'm not gonna keep my my head up or like be above it. I'm just gonna like dive right in.
This was very
Yeah.
unlike Coach. But I mean, I
Very.
feel like the situation, I guess, called for it. Like this was one, even though he didn't want to admit it, this is one that he really wanted to take back. Like he probably
Right.
regrets the forfeit still. He
Mhm.
really wanted this. He sees that they're, the crowd is chanting forfeit. They're calling them the loins when they come into the
Yeah.
when their name is like on the big like billboard or whatever. Like he
Yeah.
wants this. He wants to shove it in their faces and then, stay humble about it afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah. But also in the stands, we have Ornette is watching the game and Carl from TMU approaches him. Now, earlier before the game, we have this conversation between Vince and Ornette and Coach and talking about Vince's possibilities, his opportunities if he could play D1. It's solidified now that Vince is a junior.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause we were
Yeah.
like, how old is he? And it comes to the decision that everything opportunity will go through Coach first.
Yes, that is the deal they make.
That is the deal. And Vince is like, that works for me. And Ornette's like, okay, if it works for Vince, it works for me. But then we
Mhm.
see that conversation happen in the field, in the stands. We don't hear it, but
But
we
you know what's
see-
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust Ornette to really let Coach.
No.
Like if he sees an opportunity here, he's gonna try to take it. But I know we're always trying to figure out how old these students are. And yeah, it has been confirmed that Vince is a junior. And I guess this also means that Luke is a senior because didn't they explain at the beginning that they invited Luke, I guess, as like kind of a backdoor way to get to talk to Vince because they're not able to talk to Vince because he's a junior. So they invited Luke, I guess, because that's allowed because I'm assuming Luke is a senior.
Right.
And then like while
Right.
just kind of hoping that we'll give him 6 free passes and hopefully one of them he'll pick as his BFF Vince. And so
Right.
that was the plan. So in my mind, I'm saying that Luke is a senior and Vince is a junior.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Will, he says, quick note about Vince's dad's concern about his early recruitment. Even back in 2010, top 500 players in the country get upwards of 10 to 20 offers by sophomore year. So
Wow.
they missed the mark on this one.
Wow.
Yeah,
But Vince also,
He played later in life.
Right.
that's true. He
Well,
wasn't
later
like
in high school.
playing later in life.
Yeah.
I guess his sophomore year was his first year. If last year was his sophomore year,
Right. And they didn't
Right.
do that well.
right.
yeah, they were,
Yet.
it was bad. Yeah. Back to the game. The Lions take control. They win. They do play dirty, but I loved every
Mhm.
moment of it. It was so good. And so they win 38-17, but with 24
Yeah, not even close.
Yeah, but with 24 penalties.
Yeah, yes. I
So,
think the
lots
reporter
of
said
flags.
24 penalties, 245 yards. I
Yeah.
love Coach with the reporters. Like as soon like he knows what he's gonna get. He's like, all right, let's do this.
It's like, nice talking to you, okay?
You're just trying to get anything out of him, and he just laughs at them and says, "All right, have a good night." It was so good, handled so
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. After the game, the boys go to a party that's outside. Liz said would you say
I
an
was like,
outdoor
is this
strip
an
club?
outdoor strip club? I didn't know what was happening.
Where these boys are just allowed to walk around town unsupervised? What is going on here?
And like, I don't remember who said Molly, I think in the chat was like this guy would ever serve all these underage
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, right? Like I don't know.
I
When
don't know.
when I
And
went on my trip to Italy, they put tape on our doors so we couldn't go anywhere.
Mhm, I'm
There was
sure.
no tape on these kids'
I
hotel
know.
doors for sure.
It's so rowdy in the hallway too,
Oh my
and
God.
the coaches are just off drinking and playing games, which I love that they're having friendship
Yes.
and bonding. But the boys are just, they take off and they go to hang out with some guy that Hastings' dad used to know.
It's
Yeah,
bizarre.
right,
And they're
right.
drinking
So strange.
moonshine.
Like the most potent
Yeah.
thing ever, and it can get you severely intoxicated.
I just don't understand why Jess couldn't go with them. Like
Yeah.
Vince leaves Jess and it's like, hey, I'll be back in an
That's
hour or
true.
two. Leave your door unlocked. Why couldn't she just go?
Right. It's like
Right.
that. I mean, I think it's obvious why. I don't know why they even had planned like whatever date night they were having, because presumably they were hoping to win, and then obviously they'd want to celebrate after. But
Right.
I mean, Jess is, conceivably part of the team, right? Like she's traveling 250 miles with them, so I feel
Yeah.
like she should, if she's making the trip, she should be celebrating with them as well. So it is weird that maybe she was just pissed off, she didn't want to go with him. But yeah, it's a little strange that she stays behind here.
Especially because I feel like after hours, now she could just be girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's not, equipment manager.
Right.
I don't know
And
why.
leave your door unlocked. Hell no, a single girl in a hotel room, you're not gonna leave
Yeah.
your door
Locked
unlocked.
it real quick.
I would be triple bolting and putting whatever else in front of it.
Yeah. So at the party, Vince tells Luke about TMU, and
Which is good.
And Vince says, Coach told me not to say anything, but I felt bad. And Luke was like, well, this is great. All of us can go.
Luke's excited. Yeah.
He's so excited. And
He's
Yeah.
pumped.
he's so pumped. And throughout the whole party, right? Because they were sitting around the fire and they were talking about how they're each other's brothers and he would do anything. He'd even walk on fire. And Hastings is like, prove it. And so,
Of course, Hastings is the one to initiate this.
Hastings
Why
is
couldn't they
like,
have physically
we have to make
put,
this into a
like,
cult?
coals down and like
Yeah.
actually walked on like hot coals, but they had to brand each other. Like
Yeah.
this is not where I thought it was going.
this was so weird,
Very.
but
This is wild.
it was
They
wild.
should have just gone
Yeah.
tried to get illegal tattoos.
Yeah, but I think it was an in the moment thing. It was in the moment thing. And then you have Buddy Jr., who has my favorite line of the episode. He sees a woman putting on lipstick, and I like the way you're putting that on. You look like you're in a commercial.
Perfect. No notes. I saw this and I was like, wow, Buddy Jr. doesn't have game. And then he proved me wrong when
That is his game.
I mean, Liz said she's like really
She's
old.
his mother.
Someone's mother.
His mother's
And
age.
Hastings, I think, says that. Like,
Yeah.
he's making out with someone's mother. But hey,
Mhm.
Buddy Jr.'s getting some lipstick
Yes.
all over his face.
And it was also just an interesting, like, why did we have to have the conversation of Hastings randomly on the bus just being like, "You virgin?
Yeah,
That
that
you
was
are."
so
Really
strange.
weird. What was that?
This is
Is
like
he,
the
like,
first
is he
conversation
your
they've ever
brother?
had. And he just like asks him, are you a like, I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really random
It's so weird because
and awkward.
it's so awkward. Hastings is the newbie. Now BJ is the newbie. He asks him that really weird thing, but then on the field, he really defends him.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like I said, the brotherhood of Hastings.
Yeah, because
and
they're
Buddy Jr.
roomies and
Like,
they sat together in the bus.
That's right. He gets tackled and he screams at the other team. He's like, don't touch my boy, Buddy Jr.
Yeah, it was
Right?
very out there, but I like to see obviously the support and the friendship, but
Yeah.
the whole thing is random.
It's so random. And then back to the branding. I don't know if you guys caught it, but BJ's like, I don't know. I just joined the team.
Yeah, he's trying to get like, I just got here. I don't need to,
Yeah,
I
even
don't think I'm a
Tinker's
brother
like,
yet,
I don't think we should all do this. Like that looked like it really hurt.
And so the boys, obviously, they do this. They're super hungover. It's 5 a.m. They get back to the hotel and Jess is just, taking care of them
Yeah.
and, cleaning their branded.
They're branding
She's
wounds.
pissed. She's
Of
like, y'all are
course.
so stupid.
Yeah.
Outside of the branding, I think a lot of one of my biggest complaints with the teen dramas is they're not good at writing or really portraying like what actual teenagers are like when they're drunk. But I felt
Mm.
like Luke especially, like this is every high school boy I've ever hung out with
Yeah.
drunk. Like this was portrayed beautifully, like just like kind of incoherently shouting and saying that you guys are my boys for life. Like in this instance, he probably meant it more than a lot of other instances I've seen where people are usually shouting at like 5 people they just met that night. But this is like, I heard Luke just like incoherently rambling, and I was like, yes, this is a drunk high
Yeah,
school boy right
it's
now.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it could be also drunk 30-something-year-olds. Like when our guy
Yeah.
friends get drunk, they like cry and hug each other and say how much they love each other
Every time.
and like make announcements and speeches and like friendship. And you're like, okay, guys,
No
that's enough.
branding though.
No brand.
No brand.
No, burning cell phones and things. I don't know what they do.
Yeah. It's so true that we have one friend that he doesn't drink often, but when he does, he
Mhm.
gets so lovey and he goes around the room and makes a speech about each
Everyone.
person.
Oh, that's
And
great.
he's crying and
Crying, hugging,
then-
kissing,
Wait.
Oh my
smishing, you know.
goodness.
yeah.
What a
Right.
delightful drunk.
Yes,
He's
he really, and he's
delightful.
also delightful and
Yes.
not drunk. So.
Yes, he's delightful. Love the coaches. They're gambling
Mhm.
and drinking. And all of them are so happy. They had so much fun. They're saying the boys had fun. They're joking that, Buddy Jr. sucks at football. But Coach isn't having fun.
No, coach
But
is
what
the
do
only,
you
and he
what do you
gets
guys
called
think
out.
about that? Yeah.
Because he
mean-
feels like he cheated, probably.
He
Right.
doesn't like playing with revenge, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like he did it the right way. Like he knew he needed this win, but then like once it happened, he was like, man, I wish we could have done this another way. So I get where he's coming from. I wish he could enjoy it. And I like how I think it was Buddy, like he just calls it out. Like, you're the only one here not having fun. Like, let's have a good time. Come on. He's like trying
Yeah.
to snap him out of it.
Yeah.
Well, anything to win. Buddy's like, we got to win.
Sure.
I feel, and the other coaches feel that way too.
Yeah.
But Coach, especially, has always played with how Coach plays.
Yeah.
I like
And
I
it usually
like
works in his favor. Even if they lose, like at least he knew, like, oh, we played a fair game.
Right.
And then
But-
when he was like, oh, and I was cheating and I was trying to like win and I was cheating, I was like, he was cheating in that game too? Like, he probably feels like such shit about himself.
The
Like, when
whole
does
time.
Coach cheat this much?
yeah, that's right.
So good.
I'm looking at your cards. I still can't
Can't win.
I
so
do
funny.
like, I've noticed that that Coach Stan, like, everyone else, when Vince introduced the coaches to his dad, they were all like last name, and then he was
Thank
like, and
you.
this is Stan.
And this is Coach Stan.
This is Coach Stan.
I was like, does Stan not have a last name? I guess he doesn't. I
Known
love Stan
anonymously
so
as
much.
Stan. Yeah, when he just
I
like,
stan
interrupted the
Stan.
speech, I was like, down football, and he like literally like roared like Liz does at the end of the episode. He gave an honest to God roar.
Exactly. He really, it was amazing.
I also love that he can do his little whistle blow on the bus.
Coach gave it to him. He's like,
Hey,
you do
the-
it.
do the thing that you do.
Yeah, wake the boys up
So
with a
good.
whistle blow. Stan is a vibe, and I'm here
He's
for it.
My whole world.
Yeah.
I love Stan.
Coach goes back to the room. He calls Tammy. Tammy's having her own girls' night with Laurel.
Yes. Everyone's getting drunk tonight.
Everyone's getting drunk. I love that she has a friend. Do you trust Laurel? Let's
Yeah,
have
I got there.
reservations.
It's just because you see how it starts and like we see what Tammy doesn't.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant, but it seems as though she is just wanting to be her friend.
Yeah.
Like they're past it. So, and it's good. I mean, Tammy hasn't had a real friend since like Katie McCoy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And that didn't end well.
R.I.P. McCoys.
Yeah. Yes. Good riddance to the McCoys.
Good riddance.
No, but I saw where
like
Liz was.
Katie.
She was fine.
Okay.
If she had to leave so that the McCoy men could also leave, that's more than okay. But
Yeah.
Liz, I saw where you were coming, because even I've seen the episodes and I was like, this lady's up to no good. Because
Yeah.
again, it seemed like with Buddy Jr., it seemed like we missed some episodes here where like literally, I think it was the same episode actually. Like in the beginning of the episode, she's like talking shit about Tammy. She's like combative against Tammy. She doesn't want
Yes.
anything to do with her. And then like we don't see her change her mind. Just at the end of the episode, she's just like, you know what? I do want to do homework club. So it's like,
Thank you.
what is this girl's ulterior motive? Like, it doesn't make sense, but we haven't seen anything else. So now we have to assume like she just decided out of nowhere she wants to be a friend, which all right,
Yeah.
good for Tammy.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it is good
agreed.
because Tammy needs to vent to someone, and she's talking about Julie because Julie hasn't returned any of her phone calls. She's taking it tough with her leaving. Yeah. So I'm
Mhm.
glad she has Laurel.
Me too.
When I went away to college, my mom had a rule with me that I had to talk to her on the phone every 3 days. So that was,
Good rule.
yeah, it wasn't too bad. Every 3 days, that's it. That's enough time. Just a quick, 10-minute phone call. I think that was good. I think
Yeah.
Julie and Tammy should have a similar deal worked out.
Even I don't understand, why can't we text?
Yeah,
Or-
right.
Right.
I know
Or
it's not
email
the same
or
as hearing a
something.
voice, but could have sent texts.
Yeah, and like I'm trying to put Michelle and I both didn't go away to college. My sister did, however, and my sister and my mom are like codependent, like they're attached at the hip. So they have a very different relationship than Julie and Tammy do. So I was like trying to understand how it would go. Like it would never fly in my house to not speak to my mom like every single day
Right.
or
right.
every single hour of every single minute. Like my husband's like, your mom's calling again. Like it's my mom, we're her only daughters and she lives for us. And I appreciate that. But sometimes it's a lot. And so seeing Julie and Tammy, I'm like, is this the norm? Wait, I just don't know what the norm is. So I just my meter of like parent kid is so off because of my mom. So
yeah, well,
I believe it. I believe this is the norm. It seems.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah, and especially because this is her first time away
Right.
from home.
yeah. She's so busy and caught up too.
Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, Kate, she sent some thoughts and she wanted to say that as someone who teaches at the professional college level, to be at the thesis writing stage of his doctoral program, Derek would have to be at least 26. And his wife would have to be in her 30s to be at the point where she could take a sabbatical. Not that movies or TV shows ever get academia right. I just can't imagine any actual professor acting so immaturely and unprofessionally so as to seek out a student in a public venue and verbally and physically assault her.
Yes.
This is just so unrealistic and offensive to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate this 26-year-old loser. I can't like.
Well, Julie, she gets back from what we could assume fooling around with him, right? She walks into her room
next morning.
Mhm.
right? And she just wants to sleep, and her roommate's like, "We got to go to class," and so they bribe each other, right? Like, you do this for me, I'll do this for you. So Julie has to go to a poetry class and sign in for her. While she's there, Derek shows up,
And
Insane.
Woodley is in, and he's speaking like while this guy's reading a poem
and says, "Hey, come with me. Let's go get fry bread. Like, what are you doing? Just leave this." And she's like, "Okay, I'll meet you in the parking lot." So they drive a good amount of time. I think it was like a couple hours away to go get like
90 miles, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even catch that. I'm always infuriated.
What is this guy doing?
Like, what the hell? To go get the fry bread. It's delicious, whatever. And then he goes on this whole thing of I like to get lost. I'm good at it.
He's forever lost, metaphorically as well.
This is why he can only hit on college freshmen, because if he was hitting on people his own age, they'd like laugh in his face with the things he's saying. He's so embarrassing. He's so embarrassing.
Agreed.
I cannot with this guy.
You're absolutely right. It's very embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. And then he just keeps saying, "Oh, I have to get back because I have to like work on my thesis." And so instead of getting back, they drive around even more. And he's like, "I'm teaching you how to get lost."
She's already lost as well. She's very lost.
But it's okay to me. It's okay.
It's okay to be 18 and lost.
I mean, you could be 36 and lost, right?
Sure, for sure.
But it's just the way we're going about this. And so then they both decide we're going to say it at the same time of what we're doing at Burleson.
Also, why did they think that was a good idea? How did either of them hear what the other person was saying?
And it's like, let's just get it out, just to get it out. And so we learn that his wife, her name is Allison. She's really smart, blah. And then Julie says that Matt is just some guy from Chicago. I don't blame her for this. How did you guys take this when she said it like that?
I think she's just trying to put the past in the past. She's on to new things. And they had a very distinct, like, I'm not coming with you to Chicago. I need to find my own Chicago. So this is her way of doing that. I don't blame her for being like, she couldn't, did she have to say he's some guy in Chicago? She could have said like, he's my ex.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't choose to say that because she wanted to make it even more diminished, because maybe to her, she wants it to feel even more diminished because she needs to get over it.
Yeah.
And the only way to get over something is to get under someone else, right?
Anyone else, please.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while since she's been with Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sort of, because they were fresh again for like a hot minute when she saw him. But,
yeah. For all the Matt Julie shippers, I'm sure it hurts to hear him being referred to as just some guy from Chicago,
right.
But I'm sure she didn't want to get into it at that moment. She just wanted to, hang out with her cool TA some more, who pulled her out of a class to go get fry bread for some reason.
And I keep
This guy has
saying,
nothing better to do. Like, he does. He has a thesis to write. I don't know why he's doing like
yeah,
this is
Procrastinating.
he needs the
And then
distraction.
he says, like, back when they're eating, and he says, oh, because she's like, how'd you find this place? It's like, oh, sometimes I just, it's like I get drawn to places, just like I kind of like got drawn to you. And I'm like, you suck so much.
Yeah. Yeah, line after line.
It's so bad.
And even if he believed it, it still is just so like disingenuous to the viewer. You just
disingenuous.
see it and you're like, this
No,
is
he is-
spewing
I mean,
bullshit.
I believe his wife when she says that he has done this same thing to many girls, probably.
Thank
Like,
you.
these are lines that he has prepared that he is. I'm sure, like, preying on these freshman girls and taking them to this fry bread place and using these stupid lines that are working on freshman girls, and like this is what he does.
Absolutely.
I'm positive of it.
Yeah, and I had
Yeah.
that feeling when we first met him. I'm like, this is
Mhm.
definitely not the first one that he's had the situation with. Do I think it was incredibly immature of his wife to come and slap her and call her out and say that Julie Taylor is a slut?
In a public space.
This is just like, if it's happened before, why are you blaming her?
Right.
Yeah, right. Listen, I have some notes on how his wife handled this. Like, this is
Yeah.
the nerve of her to just go to this, like, according to the person who sent in the comment on how old she must be, for this full-grown adult woman to come into this college campus to probably, like, I don't know, she doesn't live in this dorm. I don't know if she's trespassing or what right she has to be there, but she's like storming into the common area and slapping a teenager in the face and like shouting that she's a slut. Like, I do like that she is bringing to attention to Julie, like, he does this to other girls, because she did need to hear that, but like, to scream that she is a slut and slap her, like, that is insane. She should be getting escorted off the campus.
It would have been a much better situation if we had like the Maureen and Serena talk, where Maureen's like, oh, you think that you're the one? Like, it just very condescending and calm about it, where this is like, this was way out of hand and so uncalled for. And just honestly, if I was Julie, I'd press charges. I feel like this bitch came and slapped me.
Her friend had to pry her off.
Yeah,
She assaulted her.
She assaulted her.
And like, obviously, I do not to like, Julie is the victim here, who's getting preyed on by this creepy man, but I am a known Julie Taylor defender as well. But this season, have to question a lot of her decisions.
Right.
What did she think was going to happen when she started getting involved with her TA? And then even like, she makes the initial mistake as soon as he says he's married, like, cut and run. Like, what are you doing here? I don't know how she thought this was going to end, but like, then obviously she doesn't deserve to have this happen to her. And I just felt so bad. Like, how do you even go to school? Like, this is her first month in school, and already she is going to be the girl that got slapped in front of everyone and is branded as the slut. Like, that's terrible. I feel so bad for her, even though she is making these terrible decisions all season.
She is making terrible decisions, but does Allison get repercussions? Like, how do you do that?
I hope so.
I mean, and I feel your rage, but also, like, if your husband did this multiple times, why are you still with him?
What is she doing?
Right.
What are you
doing?
she's
on sabbatical.
I'm not blaming her.
No, of course not. Is she slapping every girl? Like, is this like a once a month thing that happens?
Right.
Also, how did she find out? Right. Like, he gave her the full information. Oh, Julie Taylor in this dorm at this time.
Right.
Yeah,
or
right?
she just like, I mean, do we find out next week how she knows?
Not next week.
Okay.
No.
So I keep worrying about Julie and like, is her grade suffering because she's getting so involved with someone who's distracting and taking so much of her time?
Yeah.
And it, like you said, like it's her first semester of her freshman year of college. Like, while yes, you could like patch up things and recover, it's still really bad to do really poorly in your first semester at college.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about that.
It's a mess.
It's a whole mess.
Stupid TA, so sloppy, coming home from the fry bread place, probably with like crumbs still on his face, with the receipt hanging out of his mouth.
I hate him.
Gross.
So cocky.
Vic wants to know, what's the most embarrassing thing to happen to you at college? Hopefully no one was slapped.
No, that's a good question.
I have a story.
Oh, please tell your story.
You can think about yours.
Oh, yeah, I'll think while you tell yours.
So it was a creative writing class, and I think it was my sophomore year at college, or was my freshman? No, I think it was my second semester freshman year. And coffee addict, always had to have coffee in the morning, and I brought my coffee in a travel mug, but a disposable travel mug. And within, I don't know, 5 minutes of us starting the class, I don't know how my book or something like knocked over my entire cup. And when I tell you, like, coffee went from like here all the way to like the other side of the classroom, like just went down. And the professor is like trying to do his lesson. And I'm like, oh my God. And like, I'm trying to go get paper towel. We happen to have some in the room, but I don't think it was enough. So I think I don't remember if I like ran to the bathroom really quick and got more paper towel. And then the next class, I don't remember if this was like every other day or something. I had brought like an actual, like, not a Yeti, but a hard cup. And the girl next to me is like, oh, you brought like a real cup today. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I mean, I was cleaning up this coffee probably for like a good, what felt like 15 hours. It was probably like 3 minutes, but I was thinking everyone was staring at me. So that was really embarrassing.
Wow.
Mhm.
I wish I had a story to compete with that. I don't not to say that I never did anything embarrassing in my time. I'm sure I did, and I am blocking it out, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I really don't have a story like that. It might come to me like 2 a.m. when I'm sleeping and be like,
Yeah.
and then I'll just like group chat you guys my embarrassing story.
Wait, I told you guys about this story. I told this before when the professor asked me what justice meant.
No.
Oh wait, I've never told this story. I must have told I told someone like recently. So I had this professor and it was I think it was a child psychology class, and he was like that real stickler, and he'd just be like you and like point on you and point, call you out, and just whatever his question was you had to like answer immediately. And I'm just not good at that. I need a little bit of time to kind of marinate. And so he's like, and what does justice mean? And he points to me. And like at the moment, I'm just like, justice means justice.
That's a really good answer.
And while I'm sure not one person in the class remembered I said this, I will never forget that I said that. And like someone else, he's like, what about you? And like they answer, like, oh, it's like for the good. Like even to this day, I'm like,
Yeah.
what does justice mean?
Did he respond to that?
He's just like, no.
Okay, all right. Oh, for me, like
He's
my
like, no. Okay, next.
my first
So-
2 years, I was in the honors college, and I would drop out of the honors college because it was too much work. But so these classes were like difficult, and I'd sit in, and even like my style of learning is I really just don't pay attention in class at all. I make sure I take notes and everything, but I
Yeah.
just cram like the week before the exam and just like read through the notes, read through the textbook and everything. So like in class, I'm never gonna have any idea what's going on. And these honors teachers, these professors, they don't like you said, they're just gonna call on you. They're gonna do whatever. So for a couple of my classes, I'd have no like I wouldn't even know like how to even begin to answer the questions. Like I don't know anything about anthropology, so I'm not going to be able to help you, professor. I'm sorry, but they would call on me, and I would just be like, "Oh, I have no idea. I don't even know where to start." And then she would look at me and just be like, "Well, just try. Like just give an answer." And I
Mhm.
just blankly stare back, and we would stare at each other for what felt like, minutes, and eventually she would just give up and go to someone else. And she
Yeah.
tried this to me like 2 or 3 times and then never called on me again because I just without fail just refused to talk and just
I should have done that. I
Yeah,
should
that's
have
like
like
great
stare,
tip.
stare
That's a
back.
great tip.
Eventually she just didn't know what to do. She'd be like, okay,
yeah.
got an A-
that's
in that class.
There you go. Hey.
nice.
You showed her.
Exactly.
Oh God, I feel anxiety now talking about
know,
those
right?
things.
Okay, so after this whole debacle, Julie ends up going home, which made me tear up because seeing Tammy react
Mm.
to that, because Tammy misses her so much, and we know that. And it's a safe place for Julie. What'd you guys think of this?
This was amazing because like you were saying, like they're both reacting so strongly, but in like different ways. Like Tammy is like crying because she's so happy to see her daughter that she hasn't even like talked to in some time because she's been so busy. Julie is like crying or about to cry because like she's like from the complete opposite way. Like, she's so sad. She just had like a traumatic experience in school to the point where like she felt like she had to go home, and they're
Yeah.
both like reacting and are so happy to see each other and are hugging that like obviously tears were coming to my eyes as well just watching this. Like this was like one of the most powerful moments in the episode, even though like we hadn't seen much Tammy. We have like a couple of scenes of Tammy and then this, and she makes it count because this moment is extremely emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It was really sweet. Brianna wants to know how long until the Taylors find out what Julie has been up to at school. So obviously we know. And Matt, do you remember? Have you
Yeah,
watched
I have
ahead?
I have a rough idea of what's going to happen, so I won't spoil.
Okay. Liz?
I don't think right away. She's not very good at opening up when it comes to these kind of pickle situations she gets herself in. And I also think, like I said, like their relationship is different than like me and my mom. So I'm like trying to put myself in Julie's shoes and like how long would I go without telling my mom? Also, like it's embarrassing and you're doing something wrong.
Would you tell your mom about this in Julie's situation, like right away?
No, I
Or
think
would you
I'd
take
keep
this
this
to the grave?
I would probably take it to the grave unless
Okay.
it like went deeper where maybe Allison and like something comes out and the school has to do something about it, which could happen, you know. I bet I bet Julie and Derek are going to talk and Julie's going to be like, I'm not going to press charges on her because she wants to keep it hush hush. But then again, it's not going to be a hush hush because
Yeah.
literally the entire floor knows.
It's going to be tough to
And
do
then
that.
I'm sure it'll be around the school very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what the camera phones are like in these days, but I'm sure someone has a recording of this somehow.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's going to get back to the actual professor of her class or, you know, some higher ups because that's how they met. He's a TA in her class.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the school book says about this type of thing.
I'm sure it's like one of the only rules for TAs.
Right?
Like don't sleep with your students.
Don't sleep with your
Yeah.
students. So and the fact that he's married, like it's a whole production. So I think she probably can't keep it a secret, but she's going to want to as long as possible. But I don't know if it will come out next week, maybe the week after. Maybe things will be private next week between Derek and Julie. And then maybe the following week we'll have some more of it out in the open. That's my prediction.
Good prediction. Okay. This is for Matt. This is from Elizabeth. She says, I think we should bring some Lonely Boys segments to the Bettys. So, anything weird happened to you this week? I almost got into the wrong car at Michael's yesterday. Opened the door and someone was sitting in the car.
No. My grandma's done that.
Oh my God.
Matt, take it away.
Actually, I guess I did. Like this segment has turned because at the top of every show, I just tell my co-host Brendan about something that I can't stop thinking about that has recently happened to me. It's usually a interaction with like a customer I have at one of my many jobs. And I mean, I guess recently I usually make pizza at my job, but sometimes I will operate a register in the restaurant at the great amusement park Adventureland. So I took over a register and someone like this middle-aged woman in like a wheelchair comes up and orders, you know, some kind of combo. And I was like, okay, what drink do you want? And she's like, you know what I want right now? And I'm like, okay, what? Where is this going? And she's like, I want my favorite combination. Do you know what my favorite combination is? I'm like, no, ma'am. How would I know? We just met. And she's like, I want some Coke and LSD. I was like, okay, well, for the combo, these are your options. And
I'm sorry, I can't provide the LSD for you.
And she was like, what? Coke and LSD. I want some Coca-Cola and long sips of my drink. What did you think I meant? And I was like,
oh my God.
What a bit, ma'am. You really got me. And she's like winking at me like she just said the funniest thing that's ever.
Oh my gosh. I think I have to use this now.
And then I started laughing just at the confidence in which she delivered it and then winked at me like it was the best thing that's ever happened.
That is the best thing.
That's amazing.
And I'm sure I'll tell Brendan the same story next time we record. But that's recently what
that's an amazing story. I feel like I can't even top that.
It's been a pretty quiet week. I definitely have had no interactions like that.
No.
We'll see. Tomorrow's a brand new
cat. Well, Michelle has an outdoor cat that killed a bird and brought the bird.
Well, she's been leaving birds doing that. And bird heads and all the things. But that's not really weird. I was just like solidified that she's a badass.
Yeah, she's a badass cat. Yeah, weird. Not weird.
No.
Maybe it'll come to me. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were not prepared for this segment, so
no.
it's hard to just come up with something.
Yeah. Also, sidebar, Matt, how long have you been working at Adventureland?
So I worked there like in my high school and college days for 8 years, and I did rides and then like worked my way up a little bit. Not to brag. And then took a break when I did my, when I became an accountant for a couple of years, and then quit my accounting job to become a teacher. And then, after you quit a job, you lose money pretty quickly. So I needed
Yes.
money back. And then I went back to my old job and last summer, and they were like, well, we don't need ride operators, but we could use a pizza maker. So I've been making pizzas for since last summer.
That's amazing.
So 8 years on rides, 2 years in the restaurant, 10 years total now, I guess,
That's so funny.
with a couple of off years in between.
The reason why I ask is because growing up, my dad worked in Melville, like basically down the block from Adventureland. And so in the winter, in the off season, him and his coworkers would go to Adventureland because nobody would be there, and they would get pizza
That
and
is
eat pizza
so
there.
funny because when I became a pizza maker, they'd be like, people
Probably
used to
fed my dad.
literally, like, they would tell me, they'd be like, oh, our pizza's like not bad. Like, people used to just come here like in the winter just to get the pizza. And now I understand that they were talking about my
dad and his coworkers. I mean, my dad doesn't work there anymore, but I mean, their company closed. But like for my entire childhood, when my dad worked at that company, he would go to Adventureland during the
now I know
season.
Now I know they were telling me the truth.
I had no idea they were still open in the winter.
I
thought
they aren't anymore. Like these days, they're not. They closed down for the off season, but they were telling me that. And then I have some of my, I'm a substitute teacher as well during the year. So some of my students are also working there, so they like to come up to me in the hallway and they tell me that the pizza has been really good since I started working there. So, so I have references.
Cute.
That's adorable.
That's so sweet.
I
anyway, back to the regular schedule.
Yeah. Does Hastings' dad know Carter's dad from his time on the oil rig?
Carter, of course, employing every
Carter Bazin.
I read that earlier.
Like, who's Carter?
Like, who the fuck is Carter?
Oh my god,
like
SS.
going through. I was like, wait, Gossip Girl, Carter, Bazin.
The oil rig. Carter
getting some Carter.
Every fallen Gossip Girl character jobs on the oil rig.
So true, actually.
And then she says, how about a user review of the week from our friend Lonely Boy Lover 69? I loved this episode. Going to this away game put our beloved characters in a new setting that was a nice refresh for the show. It reminded me of that early season episode when they had a game in Smash's hometown. Every character seemed experienced in or entrenched in drama. The stuff with Julie and the TA is just gross. Please stop putting Julie in bad storylines. It was tough seeing the team go through such a rough game, but Coach Taylor pulled it all together. Talkin deserved much worse than the Lions gave. I can't believe the Lions are undefeated. Coach Taylor's MVP. I love seeing the boys bonding at the end. Overall, a very strong episode.
Wow. A great user review of the week. I love that we now have a shared super fan of our podcast in Elizabeth, a loyal Lonely Boys listener from the beginning. Very glad that she has made the jump over here as well.
We're so thankful.
Yeah, we just had her on the podcast last week.
Yeah, she was great.
And my God. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, I love Matt. Because we're like, he's coming next week.
Yeah. I was like, oh, right. I forgot about that connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Elizabeth. And then Vic, she wants to know if you could take two people from Gossip Girl on a 5-hour bus ride with you, who would you take?
Let's see. For entertainment purposes, like obviously Blair and Chuck are gonna be causing so much mayhem on that bus, just messing with people. But I don't know if I'd be able to handle that after a while. That's a very good question. I mean, I don't know if I want to go for just like who would be able to have a good conversation with me, or who I'm just. I think I can't turn down an opportunity to spend any amount of time with Blair, so I think Blair has to be there. And Blair and Dan are coming along with me because at the point in Gossip Girl that I'm in now, the only thing I'm loving about the episodes is the Blair and Dan friendship. So I'd love to be a third member of that friendship, and we can take a nice road trip to wherever we're going.
It's perfect. I mean, imagine Blair on a school bus for 5 hours, though.
She would lose it. She would lose it.
You know, honestly, my first thought was I'd take Chuck because he would just not want to talk to me. Yeah. And that would be good. Like I could nap and listen to my music, and he'd just be like off doing his own thing.
Approach.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, maybe I take Nate because I feel like I could talk to him for 5 hours.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, Nate would be nice to talk to, actually.
Nate would be good. And then my second thought was like not Chuck at all. I don't want him anywhere near. He also would probably refuse to get on the bus. So.
That's absolutely right.
I mean, Chuck does ride the bus in the pilot episode of Gossip Girl, which does not make sense, and then never again.
I remember making note of that during the pilot and be like, okay, this one must not have a lot of money. Because
right. And then we find out he's a 12 billionaire, the richest person on the show, like just on the bus for no reason in the first episode.
I know, what a weird transition there.
So weird. All right, let's go into our other segments. Favorite quotes. What do we have? Matt, you can go first.
So I feel like the one that I heard that I thought I was going to say was that when Coach Taylor says success is not a goal, it's a byproduct. Like, this is a quote I've heard before. And then I Googled it and was shocked to see that it is a Coach Taylor original. Like, I did not realize that he was the one, like, because everything I looked for was like, it just attributed the quote to him. And then I stumbled upon an article that gave 12 quotes, and you had to guess if it was Coach Taylor or Barack Obama. And I went 11 for 12. So
wow,
that's pretty good. But then that quote was one of them.
I love that.
That is what I stumbled upon in my research of that quote. But the quote that made me laugh the most was during the insane Billy Riggins coaching segment when he just yells, "We will run with hate in our hearts." It made me laugh out loud. And I don't know when I'm going to get the opportunity to say this, but I will scream it at some point.
Right. My God, I love it.
I love it. What do you have, Liz?
I have play Taylor ball, and then you would be too if your mom cooked like mine.
Yeah, Tinker. I really like the way you're putting your lipstick on. It's like a commercial.
It's like a commercial.
And then he got to come home with that lipstick.
Yeah, he got a souvenir.
Yeah. Coach Corner. What do we have, guys? Favorite moment?
Originally, I had Coach telling Vince about him being like the person to go to with the scouts and everything. But then I picked Vince telling the boys that Coach knows what's up.
Ooh,
that's good. I like that.
What do you have, Matt?
We mentioned it like when it happened, but I think that scene just like right in the beginning that sets the tone for the episode when Coach Taylor tells Vince like, we're doing this my way. And then to like kind of piggyback off that, when at halftime he like switches it up and is like, all right, now we're switching it up. Like, I thought those two moments were perfect for Coach and Vince.
Yeah, that's what I had too. The second half, when Coach is like, go tell the team. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's up.
You know what's up. MVP and shittiest. Does everybody have their MVP?
I do.
Okay, Matt, who's your MVP?
I went with Coach. I think I have to go Coach for this one. Like, he does what he needs to do. He has a great team, and that has everything to do with him. Like you guys said, this team started from scratch, and he has turned them now into his second year coaching them, an undefeated team, and they got a huge win today. And again, it has everything to do with him. Like, he just handled everything like pretty perfectly in the episode. He deals with the reporters. He handles the weird Vince getting recruited thing well. He understands at the end, we didn't mention, but like, he understands Vince may want to ride home with his dad, and he gives Vince that opportunity. And when Vince says like, I ride with the team, that was amazing as well. But he gives him the opportunity to go with his dad. Like, he's able to read his players and see like what they might need in the moment. He, even in the moment when he's drunk, he's calling home to Tammy to tell Gracie to give her a hug and a kiss. I just think Coach was in rare form today. Like, he wasn't able to have fun at the poker game, but besides that, everyone has a great episode. But like, Coach is their leader. He led them to victory. So Coach is my MVP.
I love that.
That's who I chose.
I almost chose him, but I ended up choosing Vince.
Great choice.
Yeah, just the way he led the team, and the way at the end when you just said, I'm gonna ride with my team. Just the development that we've seen throughout season 4 and 5 now. It's really great, and him choosing like the right path. Like, okay, Coach has my best interest. Just like making his adult decision. Obviously, we know that maybe the dad's gonna jeopardize that.
Yeah,
but I just really liked Vince.
Yeah. We had votes for Coach and BJ. Will chose Tinker for his love of the erotica cinema. Oh my! He even hosted a film festival. That's dedication. He also figured out his relationship with pigs.
Yeah.
The difference between pork and pigs.
There is a difference.
So funny.
Shittiest. I think it's probably across the board, but what do you have, Matt?
Yeah, that loser Derek Bishop, which I did have to just refresh myself on his name because I do just call him like that loser TA most of the time. But
Yeah.
it is Derek, and he is a
Yeah.
loser. Like, come on, we don't even need to explain why. We did enough ranting during the episode.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's who I chose. And we also had a vote for Allison.
Yeah, I figured that as much, but
We also had votes for the other team and saying the racist remarks.
Yeah, that racist can get it. I mean, he wasn't in it enough, I guess, to warrant the full shittiest,
Correct.
but
Right.
definitely can get an honorable mention there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who's our Lion Booster this week, Liz?
It's Kim.
Kim.
Yay!
Yay, Kim. It's her birthday.
On Sunday.
When you hear this, it will be past her birthday. But
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kim. We love your support. We love talking to you in the Discord chat. Michelle and I are catching up on The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Oh my God, me
which is
too.
Isn't it good?
I've watched the first 4 episodes. Like,
Okay, that's like right
my
where
friends have
Michelle's
been
at.
raving about it, and I knew that season 2 was coming out. It's come out now, but I'm still
Yes.
behind. So I started watching it to try to catch up, and I think I'm gonna finish season 1 this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a nice.
I like it so
mean,
far.
It's just a good watch. I don't know. So we're enjoying it, and Kim and I were talking about it in the Discord. So just wanted to shout her out this week.
Yeah, Kim. Hope you enjoy your birthday. And thank you for inspiring me, along with Liz, to watch Summer I Turned
Mhm.
Pretty. And
Great
now Matt's
soundtrack on that
watching it.
show.
It's
Great
so
soundtrack.
good.
Taylor Swift,
You
Olivia
can download
Rodrigo.
it on Spotify.
Oh my God,
really?
I have to do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know,
man.
guys. I
Every
was doing
song
the
that
same
comes
thing.
on, I'm like bopping along to it.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
Jenny Han said she wrote when she was on Podcast. She said she wrote a handwritten letter to Taylor and was
Oh my
like,
God.
"Can I please use like I envisioned like all these songs? Can I
Yeah.
please use them?" And she
Thank
okayed
God she
them.
did, because there's a lot of
There's
Taylor
a
in the soundtrack.
I mean,
yeah.
a shit ton of
Yeah.
Taylor
yeah.
songs in there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I know. I
Oh
loved
my
it
God.
too.
That's great. Okay, so an emoji for this episode. I don't know what you guys were thinking or if you had any thoughts to begin with, but I was thinking fire.
Oh,
That
okay,
makes
yeah,
sense,
we could
yeah.
do that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's actually a branding emoji.
I'd say probably not.
Yeah. So we're going to go with fire. So what you can do is send
Yeah.
us those emojis through the DMs on Instagram at Total Betty Podcast Network. Send us an email. You can also drop it in an Apple Podcast review. Consider rating us 5 stars. Just do fire, fire, fire. This podcast is fire.
Exactly.
Brian,
Easy.
like,
It writes
it's
itself.
fire.
This
It
podcast
does.
is fire.
No, we haven't had a review, a line of the week in so long.
It feels like forever. So come on, guys.
Forever. Is that a bad cat joke?
I
Pause for
loved
laughs.
it. Forever.
Forever. So change that. And it's our last season, guys. So please consider leaving us a rating and review.
Yeah. Wow.
you so much.
We are closing on.
We sure are.
Crazy. 8 more episodes.
That's
I
it.
know.
Ugh.
And then we're going to do the movie. Have you seen the movie?
I've seen the movie a lot. I have a
lot.
good friend who has, I don't think he's seen the show actually, but the movie's one of his favorites, and we would hang out at his house a lot in high school. And whenever he drinks, he puts on Friday Night Lights, the movie, but like plays the same 4 scenes over and over again. So I like know 4 scenes by heart, and the rest of the movie not as well. But
That's really
those
random.
those 4 scenes. I don't know what his thinking is. Maybe he thinks we're not going to have enough time to watch all of it, so he just wants to make sure everyone sees his 4 favorite scenes. But
That's
The
like something
highlight
your
reel.
brother-in-law would do. Like, I need you to watch just these 4 scenes.
Yeah. That's really
So
funny.
yeah, I've seen it a lot, and the show is definitely better, but the movie is one of my favorites as well,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm excited.
and some familiar faces in there,
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I
Connie
love it.
Britton is the same,
And
right?
Brad Leland.
and Brad
Oh, and-
Leland.
Oh, okay.
And Coach Crowley.
Oh, all
Okay.
right.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Cool. I'm excited too.
All right, Les, I'm going to give you next week's title.
Okay.
This is season 5, episode 6, Swerve.
Swerve.
You got 2 days to come up with my money, Canard.
Yeah. Okay. I knew this was coming back. Damn it.
It had to come back.
It had to come back around. Vince was on a high, so we had to bring him down.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Is he going to talk to his dad about this? What can you do, Dad? Help me out in this situation. I got myself in a dill pickle and I need to get out.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe he'll talk to Coach.
Yeah,
so
like Vince,
risky.
like who's he going to go to?
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I think he ultimately will go to his dad because his dad will understand the situation way better
Right.
than Coach would.
Right.
So maybe they'll bond a little bit and like they'll bond over that. and then he'll find out that his dad actually took the spot at TMU, or like signed him up, I guess, to have that spot, right? Like a guarantee. And then they'll fight again.
Do you think Luke will find out the truth next week about TMU?
I mean, that wasn't what he was saying wasn't a lie, right?
No, but that, you know, do you think Coach will have a conversation with him about it?
Well, I mean, I guess so now.
Well, I'm saying, like, do you think this is going to come to fruition next week? We know it's happened. We know it's going to happen. Is it going to happen next week?
Yeah, sure. Let's say it happens next week, and I hope that that's going to put a strain on Coaches and Luke's relationship. I don't think it will put a strain on Vince and Luke, because they kind of had to talk about it, and Luke was like, yeah, it's cool, I'm going to go there too.
Right.
And then they said something about Vince kind of made it, I don't remember if it was Methodist and Baptist.
Well, I think he was like testing the waters.
Right. Like to see, like, do you actually want to go there?
Yeah.
Right.
So he's probably feeling a little guilty in the moment. And so that's why he said that.
Yeah.
But it could very well end poorly for Luke, where they're not going to accept him at TMU. But I still have hope that he'll go somewhere great.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you remember it all, Matt?
I'm having trouble remembering this storyline, so I don't think I remember exactly how this plays out.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't until I watched, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. Slowly coming back. All right, last but not least, we do have Will's Football Poetry Corner. Special teams. Special teams are a third of the game, along with the offense and the defense. They're responsible for kickoffs, punts, field goals, and extra points. Our team took a road trip this week to South King High School, which included a long-ass bus ride, a pool party. We forgot to talk about the pool party, but they were just rowdy.
Oh my God. It was just rowdiness,
so
and
rowdy.
slashing other patrons there.
I know, the mom and the kids were like, we gotta get out. A heart-to-heart conversation that strengthened the bonds between our East Dillon Lions. Philly is tasked with making the special teams unit prepared for the game, and Coach works with Vince and his father as a team to help Vince's future recruitment. Meanwhile, Tinker orders some special movies. Very good.
Good job, Will.
So good. I say this every time I'm on, but I can't believe that Will is still doing this every episode. It's incredible.
I know.
Amazing. I would love to have Will on again. He joined us, right? He's been on Talkin Texas forever. I feel like I can picture
he did
his like face when I made a reel. That's how I like remember who comes on, because I can
same
the graphic layout.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thank you so much, Matt. This was a joy.
No, thank you again for having me on for another time. Like this is always so much fun, and I love talking teen dramas with you guys.
Yeah.
Same.
Check out the Lonely Boys.
Yeah, please. What are you?
Oh my God.
Plug your socials, plug your podcast, plug your Twitter.
You can follow me on the dying social media site that is Twitter at MaddieFresh24. And more importantly, you can subscribe, download my podcast, The Lonely Boys, me and my great co-host and wonderful friend, Brendan Ruppel. Like they said at the top of the show, we are breaking down every Gossip Girl episode. I've seen them all. He has seen most of them at this point. We are almost done with season 4 at this point, so making our way towards the bitter end. We're having a lot of fun. And then you could also subscribe to our Patreon, where we are breaking down the OC episodes on the Sandy Boys, and that is just as fun, if not more so, because we behind the paywall we can really let loose, and we can really talk tea there. So subscribe. Give us your Patreon dollars if you wish. No pressure there. Follow me on Twitter, and that's all I've got to plug.
Awesome. We'll have all Matt's links in the show
Yes.
notes. So be sure to go over. If you love Gossip Girl, go say hi, go download, go listen. Be sure to come back next week for episode 6. It will be a patron episode, so one of our Total Beta patrons will be joining us. Can't wait for that. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.